Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, this week's blog is entitled My Dinner with Hitler's Friend's Son. And yeah, it was an actual event. It took place. Let me adjust my bow tie here just a little bit so you don't get distracted. Um, so, about a week ago, Sandy and I were coming back from Sedona. And those of you who watched this video or have followed the blogs know that we were in Arizona last week. On our way back, we had to pick up Cheney's guinea pig from my sister-in-law. She was guinea pig sitting. And we got there a little early, so we decided to go over to Costco that's near her house to pick up some stuff and things like that. Anyways, while we were there, Sandy had noticed a guy walking through the parking lot. Now, just a couple of moments earlier, I had asked Sandy if she could help give me some ideas for next week's blog. As many of you know, many of the ideas that I generate that come up with this blog is actually her. She's the one who really kind of acts as my muse to a large extent, giving me ideas to talk about. So I had asked her, right as we were going into the parking lot, to give me an idea of what I was going to talk about. And as we were walking into the Costco, she noticed a guy walking in behind us, and the guy was completely clad in black. He was wearing a black hoodie. He had a full gas mask on, and he was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. What was interesting is that this guy was about as Caucasian as it gets. Now, notwithstanding somebody's interest in participating in political protest, I'm totally cool with that. It just was somewhat disconcerting, especially for the fact that it was about 118 degrees outside, and this guy was obviously going to suffer a heat stroke just in the way he was dressed. In any event, as we were going into the Costco, there was an African-American ID checker. And it looked like he was probably somewhere in his late 60s. Anyways, he nodded at us as we walked inside. And then this Black Lives Matter guy decided that he was going to acknowledge the common ground that he must share with this individual. And the Costco employee candidly would have nothing of it. Sandy said to me, you might have your blog, and certainly that was something that was interesting to talk about, but she wanted something that went a little deeper about the whole concept of collective punishment and, reparations and things like that. And she brought up an event that had taken place probably about 15 years ago now, when I was on a hunt with my older daughter up in Central California. I had a unique opportunity to have dinner at a hunting lodge with one of Adolf Hitler's closest advisors' sons. Now, make no mistake about it, this guy is absolutely categorically not a Nazi, and in fact has spent his entire life essentially trying to distance himself from his father's past. That notwithstanding, when I first realized who this guy was, I immediately became very reserved, concerned, and somewhat appalled. And it was not one of my finer moments, to be quite honest with you. I had, without any way of describing it, just a prejudicial expectation of the way this guy was going to be. And it made me very uncomfortable. I owed him an apology because that's not who he is. Quite the opposite. In fact, we've subsequently become very, very close friends. But it kind of goes to the entire concept of collectivist guilt, that somehow we are responsible for the actions of our ancestors, both good and bad. In any event, read the blog. I hope you enjoy it. It's somewhat touching. I mean, it was a meaningful experience for me. But in any event, as always, if you have anything that you'd like to comment on, you can, of course, do it directly on the blog. You can always email me directly at stephen@artemishq.com. Regardless, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, Stay safe.